That's a good question. I think it would partly depend on when the third-party agreement is in place, and I think that's something that we probably need to confer with and get you, a better answer in writing.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
This is Melissa Glenn from A&M again. Can you describe a little bit more about your current state of your federally funded assets and inventory? How recent inventories have been performed? How many warehouses you may have? A little bit of background on state of asset management.
We have 41 schools and about 12 divisions. Most of our divisions are located in one central location, although we do have a separate warehouse, a warehouse that's separate from the central office. We do have a fixed asset division that is responsible for tagging all of our fixed assets. We do try to do a wall-to-wall inventory once a year. In fact, we're right in the process of doing this in the month of April. I think the concern, if I would point you to our audit, which is posted on our website. The concern is that is the completeness of the inventory. Did I answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, I'm just curious as to, I think you confirmed that there is one warehouse.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Additionally, I have some other proposal process questions. Hopefully these will be quick. Do you want the cost proposal to be separate from the technical proposal or business proposal?
No, and Mark maybe can help me, or Christine, but, don't. We need to have you submit the cost proposal at the same time for this RFP.
In separate envelopes.
In separate envelopes is fine, but we need it together because if you look at the evaluation factor, it does factor in.
No, that was just whether they should have separate covers.
Okay, no problem.
Would it be appropriate to, if you did not specify inclusion of resumes in the RFP, would it be appropriate to submit them as an appendix?
Yes.
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 And another one, a quick one. You mentioned having a formal presentation. Can you describe when, from the process standpoint, that might be and where? A little bit of background around the presentation process, perhaps.
You want to take that? Okay, here, what we plan to do right now is have all RFPs be submitted on the 30th, and then we will, here at DOE, just do the test, we'll check to make sure all the RFPs have submitted the required proper documents such as licensing and the affidavits and so forth. That'll occur on May 3rd and 4th. And from the 5th, depending on how many RFPs are submitted, that's when we would like to start the formal presentations. Once we receive the RFPs, I would imagine what would happen is we would have to coordinate with US DOE because we're wanting video conferences. We're working right now to secure rooms for that purpose. And so we're not sure how long, but it'll occur beginning the 5th and thereafter.
This is Will Call with A&M. One of the things we recognize reviewing the RFP is the weighting related to company background or corporate capability, and just wanted to understand the thinking behind that, given the criticality of the task and how you're thought about weighting personnel versus past performance versus your methodology and approach for supporting the requirements contemplated in the RFP. Because we would typically see in something of this nature that corporate experience would be, if not the most weighted, one of the heaviest weighted elements of the response, because having the right people on the ground together is being dominant. So not only the corporate experience, but being able to match the people who've done this work elsewhere with that and being bid on the actual proposal. So it's just something we wanted to understand a little bit.
Did you all hear the question?
I didn't, this is Narissa, I didn't think that was a question, I thought that was a comment.
Just understand the
Well, I guess the question is, can you explain how you scored, and one of the, if you can explain the references versus there's no scoring specifically for past performance, and is that considered in one of the factors that you scored?
This is Mark Robinson again. We may need to take a look at Section M to see if in fact there are criteria for scoring of the proposals. I don't.
The evaluation criteria is on page
Right,
29.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the heart of the question. And there are scores given in that criteria, and I guess the question is whether or not the points, the signing of the number of points relative to the different criteria. And I don't know if Guam could speak to that maybe in terms of the rationale behind the weighting of the different criteria.
and where the evaluation is occurring, because it's unclear at times if multiple areas might be contemplated for past performance as well as staffing.
Right. So that's referencing back to page 20. I mean, it's on 29 where you have the points assigned at 5 points, right, of a total of 100. And then page 27, section 7 is what DOE is going to be considering for that portion. You know what? This was in doing this particular RFP, all the areas were considered, and in making this ranking the point system, we thought in the order of priority that these are the things we would want to see. So when we rank the executive summary, the scope of services, and the statement of work, those for sure, how we're going to accomplish the task that is set before us were the most important things. Certainly the financial management reporting. And so it's a, we put it there because we felt it was important. But in the grand scheme of things, what we were looking at it is the ability to accomplish the work in a proposal. So company background is important, and we're expecting it to be a pretty close call, I think, given the people who have picked up packets. So 5 points actually could make or break this particular RFP.
Another question related to the key personnel. This is Will Carlton. I think you may have, I think you hinted at this, but it was unclear whether you were to allow resumes to be included as attachments. You asked the vendors to describe skills and capabilities, but just want to make sure we can attach resumes, and are there specific requirements related to those resumes?
I think earlier we said that we'll accept resumes as in the appendix, as a part of an appendix. But you had a second part of that question. What was that besides attachment?
No, I think you covered it. Thank you. Yes, this is Larry Wilson with TCBA. Within, there's a big item here as far as that may be way beyond our ability to control, and that's the cost for travel and lodging. Can that be in the cost proposal as a separate line item as opposed to one budget for anticipated for the entire job? Or how do you want to, maybe a better question is, how do you want to see the cost proposal broken down?
Can you give me just a minute here in this section? You know, on page 28, It does say it must provide a detailed cost proposal, right? Staffing estimates, not rates, hours by task. When we say here you go, direct expense should also be submitted to include mobilization, and that's the travel cost. So yeah, it does need to be included in this format.
But it can be broken up.
It can be broken down, correct. In fact,
should
please do.
Are you requesting a separate? Well, I'm looking at the mobilization cost. I normally look at it as kind of one time. What does it take to get started, as opposed to sustained?
Well, what at least what I was anticipating, it would be a one-time. In other